Hey, this is Mr. C, and thanks for tuning in to your next math video. This is 2-3 order of operations. It's so important, and you're going to use this for, all the way up till high school and for the rest of your life, so I'm excited to get into this. When you're ready, please unpause the video once you have your name and your date and your title. Alright, I should have come around and checked your homework, and if it was completed, you're now checking it. Here are your correct answers. Unpause the video when you're ready to go on. Alright, here are your vocab notes that you are starting with. Alright, and these are the two different things that you are writing. There is an acronym for this. It's of PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Alright. I'm not sure why we're excusing her. I don't know what she did wrong. Maybe she farts. I'm not really sure, but she needs to be excused. And make sure that one helpful note thing to do is to underline vocab words when you write them, and you should also have this example right here. Please pause the video now to have this done. Okay, now we're going on to the first example. I don't see anything in the top right corner. That means you are watching, you're trying your best to pay attention, but you don't need to be writing. So as I look at this example, let's read it. Order of operations. How do I know which operation to perform first? Evaluate 14 plus 8 times 6. So the whole reason why we're about to do this thing right here is to show you that order of operations does matter. So first, we're going to try to add first, and then we're going to see if we multiply first. We're going to see if we get to different answers. So if we add first, let's just act like we're going left to right, like how we read. Well, 14 plus 8, that's 22. And then I'm going to bring down the times 6. This is helpful of how we're going to take notes today. And then 22 times 6 is 132. Let's see if we multiply first. Well, see, this isn't left to right, but let's try multiplying first. 14 plus 8 times 6. Okay, so let's do times 6 first. 48. Bring the 14 down. Here's our new problem. 14 plus 48, 62. And I'm wondering which one is correct. I want you to tell the person next to you what you think is correct. Alright. Now let's go on. Alright, if you said 62 is correct, you are right. I'm going to read this, then I'm going to put it in my own words. Mathematicians use a set of rules known as order of operations, the order in which to perform operations and calculations. Well, you should already have this written in your notes, and we have here the order in which we do it. Parentheses, evaluate terms within the exponents, multiply and divide from left to right, add and subtract to left and right. Well, you should also have that in your notes. And the easy way that we said to remember it was PEMDAS. It's interesting that when we read, we go left to right, but math is telling you that when you read math problems and what to do, you don't just go left to right. You go parentheses and then exponents, and then you multiply and divide from left to right, add and subtract from left to right. It's interesting that math and reading are different in that way. I don't do math left to right, I do PEMDAS, and that's how we read math. This is just saying that if you put this into a scientific calculator, it also knows order of operations, and so it can go to the right answer. Let's go on. Alright, so we're on to example 1, and to help us do that, you should have this in your notes, but also I just have it on this page because I'll reference it during the problems. Alright, so we know for example 1 that you are writing, but you don't necessarily have to do it before me. And I want to let you know, I'm not going to have you write both of these, but I want you to pick one of them to write, and you'll pause it at the end before we go to example 2. Alright, so the first one, evaluate 20, parentheses, 30 minus 10, parentheses, divided by 5. Alright, so I'm going to use the order of operations. So I'm asking myself, what do I do first? And so I'm going to look over this cheat sheet over here, and in my head I know PEMDAS, and I know that parentheses goes first, and I see parentheses. And so I know that I'm going to do that first. So that's highlighted in red, and we're going to go inside the parentheses first. So now we made this. So look how 30 minus 10 became 20. Alright. So So now I'm looking back at PEMDAS over here, and I'm thinking, all right, exponents. I'm looking for exponents. I don't see any, so let's go down. Multiplication and division. I know those go together. Are there any multiplication and division? There are. All right, so we know that we're going to divide next. Next, divide. And so in our work, now we have 20 plus 4. Well, how did we get 4? Well, because we divided 20 divided by 5, and we got 4. So I'm asking myself, what do I do now? Well, I only have addition left, so let's do that, and that is way over here in PEMDAS last. All right, so let's move this down. Finally, add, and you are going to get 24. And that's how you do one of the problems. And now I have a special guest to help us do problem number 2. A quite beautiful special guest.
Hi everybody, it's Danny, Mr. C's wife. I'm going to explain problem number 2. Okay, so problem number 2, evaluate 4 to the power of 2 minus parentheses 4 plus 6 parentheses divided by 2. Okay, so we're going to check out our little reference sheet over here. We know the first one is parentheses. This problem we do have parentheses, so we're going to do that one first. Compute inside parentheses first. Cool. So, because we're smart, we know that 4 plus 6 is 10. Right here. Perfect. Alright, so then we're going to move on to the next one on our reference sheet over here, which is exponents. We do have an exponent, so we're going to do that one next. Evaluate exponents. We know it's 4 to the power of 2, 16. Boom. Cool. Keep on moving down the list. We've got multiplication and division over here. We have division, so we're going to do that one. Boom. Then divide. We know that 10 divided by 2 is 5, just like that. We're going to move on, then keep going down the line. Addition, subtraction, and that's all we have left, so we know we do that. Subtract. 16 minus 5 is 11. Good job.
And it's back to Mr. C. If you can't tell, I do have a slightly deeper voice. And if you liked my wife explaining that, please give 3 snaps, followed by a boom, because that's what she likes to say when she explains things. Thank you very much. Let's go on to the next problem. First, I do want to highlight exactly how your notes should look. I want you to pay careful attention to, as we did this, we actually wrote them down. So your notes should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines in them going down, and that's how we put our work. It's kind of like an upside down pyramid. It will get smaller as you go on. If you don't write your work, it will need to be redone, and also it's much harder to ask yourself, what am I doing next, because you weren't writing your work down. And I want things to be as easy as possible for you. So make sure you're writing your work just like this, one above the other. Let's go on. Okay, so here's example 2, and we know that example 2, you're going to try to do it before I explain it to you. So I want you to try to do both of these first, and then come back for the answers. I want you to pay very careful attention. The only difference between these two are the parentheses. This one doesn't have them, but the number 1 does. And you're going to get different answers, and you'll see that. So please do that now. All right, so here are our correct answers for both of these. All right, so I'm looking at this problem, and I know that I'm thinking about PEMDAS. And if you ever forget what these letters mean, feel free to look in your notes. All right, so let's follow along this first problem. 48 divided by parentheses 4 plus 8 parentheses plus 2 squared, or to the power of 2. I know that I do P first. I'm looking parentheses. All right, let's do inside the parentheses. That's 12. Next, you should have seen there was exponents. That's E. 2 times 2. That's 2 squared. That's 4. And notice how my notes go here, and then I do one step each time, and I go down. I am emphasizing that that's how I want your work to look this chapter. All right, so I rewrote it. So now I see divide and adding, and I'm looking which one's first. Dividing is first before adding. So 48 divided by 12, that's 4, and I brought down the plus 4 to be right here. 4 plus 4 is 8. And the only difference, again, is the parentheses. Now let's look at number 2, what you should have. 48, we have exponents first. There's no parentheses, so we have an exponent, bring down the 4. Rewrite the problem from right here, bring it down. 48 divided by 4 plus 8 plus 4. You divide first, bring down the answer, bring down the rest of it right here, And now I only have adding, so all I did was add it to equal 20. See how they're different? It does matter if you have parentheses. Let's go on. Pause the video if you need to. Now you're going to page 37, numbers 13 through 16 and 20 through 23. Please pause the video and go on when you're ready for the answers. All right, here are your answers. After you're done checking your answers or writing in your correct answers, you need to go to the gas station on Socrative, and then you can go to Khan Academy. Remember that you should have the problems written for every one, and if you haven't written the problems, don't wait till I come around and ask you to write the problems. Just make sure that you're fixing it right now and you can write the problems. Don't just have the answers. Thank you for watching this video, and if you didn't remember, you're awesome.